just tracking some of the boys, because I'm very familiar with that kind of Lord of the Flies, boys together, boarding school situation. So I was just trying to give whatever moments of verisimilitude I could to Payne Director, honestly.
Yeah, I don't need the writer on set. But it's helpful. At the times when it's helpful to have him. Everyone needs a creative sounding board. And Mark Johnson, the producer of the film, is also in the audience this evening. He's not up here on stage with us, but very David is not only the screenwriter, but also has producer credit. And it's just nice, even if a week goes by and I don't need anything but that one moment, I'm like, put on this or get me out of this pickle. It's very nice.
I had one question about another high life. No, you champagne beer. Yes. You know this, that you've had a major impact on the wine industry.
Oh, yes. Next year's the 20th anniversary, by the way.
Wow.
Is there a book? There's I heard that
Kirk Honeycutt and Myra Honeycutt are writing a book about Sideways and its impact on the wine industry. They live up in Paso Robles, California. Do you know Kirk?
No.
Retired LA film critic guy.
But I mean, it is significant the impact that film has. What was there any? Was having Miller play such a very funny running joke through the film? Was that David's idea?
Screenplay.
Yeah. My uncles drank Miller when I was growing up. You know, my uncles were janitors at Wesleyan and the courthouse in Middletown. It's like champagne beers. So it just stayed with me all these years. Maybe as we finish, I can ask about, it is so classic, the moment at the end of him spitting some booze onto the pavement before he goes. I mean, I love that turn when we're not sure what he's drinking it for, and then he does that. I asked about his backstory, but what about his future life?
I love the hearing the subway in this room.
Yeah.
Even after the remodel, right? I have such early memories in this room and hearing that. I'm sorry, what was the question? Talk about Proustian things which take us back.
A comedian used to grab his stomach whenever that noise. What's if you think about Paul, it's a life goes on type of ending, but what will happen to him? As that car goes on the road, what's going to happen?
Did you have it in your script that he spits it out, or did we just come up with that?
I think I had it that he drank it, and I think we talked about it almost on the day, or no, it was not in the script, but it wasn't in the first draft. It was something that evolved. But he definitely stole it, and he definitely drank it. And the spitting out is, I think, is the kind of punctuation mark for the movie. I always felt like it's funny because I talk about the endings of the other movies and how certain other movies end, and I think it depends. I like that ending because it's all up to you guys to decide what happens to him next. But I always thought that his life goes on. In my mind, I imagined each of them going on to other things.
Well, and that's what's so great about the ending. Actually, as David said, a lot of your endings where you get these little glimpses, enough of a glimpse of the characters to kind of think they're going to be okay. Speaking of, this has nothing to do with Holdovers, but is there a potential sequel to Election in the future?
Sequels are tricky things. If Jim Taylor and I can figure out the right way to adapt Tom Perrotta, who wrote the book Election, he had a sequel that came out last year. If we can find the right way to adapt it, we will. We'd like to do it. Reese Witherspoon would like to do it, but sequels are tricky things.
You haven't worked with her since
Have not, and would love to.
Yeah.
I'd love to work with her again and with Laura Dern very much.
So just to finish, the movie was actually shot longer ago than was made about a year or so ago,
Shot January, February, March of 2022.
and then started playing in festivals to, amazing response. David, what has been your first screenplay? What has been your reaction to all the feedback you've gotten? People probably talking about their own families.
I'm ecstatic. I mean, I wrote this, talk about Proust, this was a memory play for me, it was about the people that I love. It was just kind of importing the kind of emotional matrix that I held inside me, and I think he glimpsed in that pilot and putting it into this. So the fact that people respond to it, that they have an emotional, gain a degree of emotional traction with the story, because I think it is a universal story, and it's a love story. And I wrote it as a love story, and I want it to be, I'm glad that if it's viewed as a love story, that people find their way into it and see, touchstones in their own lives. I find that immensely gratifying. I mean, it's a perfect experience. I could not be happier, and I just want people to, I love the film because it's about people who love each other and discover through this difficult process of how to love each other and sacrifice for each other. So, I'm ecstatic that people seem to enjoy it.
Alexander, we wish that you made more movies, but when you
Me too. I love doing it.
But when you do, it's really worth the wait.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.